5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you Day 3 of the Proleague Playoffs between KT Roaster and STX. So today we have Action versus Com in the first set. Action is the red Zerg at the 7 o'clock position, and we have Com as the brown Zerg at the 1 o'clock position on the map New Bloody Ridge. This is of course a 2-player map. So Com is one of those players. He deserves respect, certainly, for the MSL title way back when he won in 2009. I guess that's not that far back. Since then, he's made it into numerous semifinals, 3 of them in fact, losing respectively to high caliber player like your Flash, your Jaedong, and your Fantasies. But in my opinion, I think he probably peaked back in 2009. I mean, he did play some great games. Remember, back then, Jaedong was considered invincible in ZVZ. He was one of the first players to actually defeat Jaedong in a best of X, best of 5, as it were, which was unbelievable back then. I mean, Jaedong didn't lose ZVZs, also didn't lose best of sets. So that accomplishment was doubly impressive. Since then, of course, Jaedong has been somewhat more mortal, but you know, that was what really astonished everybody back then. And it looks like both players probably going to go for 12 hatch, it looks like. Oh no, 12 pool here coming out for Com. Never mind, so 12 pool coming out for Com. And 12 pool also coming out for Action here. So both players playing opening in a similar manner, mirror build as it were. Now Action is just going to get his gas, and so has Com, so exact mirror build thus far. Regardless, while Com has gotten himself fairly deep into Star Leagues on numerous occasions since his win, I haven't remembered anything particularly impressive about his play since 2009. He was known as the Brain Zerg because he was pretty clever, sneaking Lings by Jaedong, for instance, and hiding his units cleverly against Jaedong when he beat him in the 2009. I believe it was actually the semifinals. I could be wrong about that. I forget when he met Jaedong there. Regardless, Jaedong has since avenged himself and defeated Com in another best of in the semifinals, I believe, leading up to the one that Flash won, the MSL from last year. Unfortunately, I do not remember the names of these MSLs at this time. Looks like a few Zerglings here coming out for Com, and a few Zerglings coming out for Action. 6 on Com's side. Both players are moving their Zerglings out a bit, but of course getting spotted by their respective overlords. Both players have also gotten their hatcheries building at their natural, so again, a perfectly mirrored build. Action is supposed to be the good Zerg acquisition for KT for this season. He has performed well, I would say well, and those two girls seem maybe a bit embarrassed here. This is the deciding day of the playoffs, so whoever wins on this day will go to whoever wins Samsung versus Wujing Stars, right? So that also had to go to a Day 3. I believe I will most likely cast that. Regardless, both players massing up Zerglings here. A few Zerglings being massed up in the front here for Action. Did Action have 4 drones on gas there? Is that what the commentators are trying to show? I doubt it. Pro gamers certainly. And in fact, it does look like there are 4 drones on gas, at least temporarily, perhaps. That was a bit of a mistake there from Action. Kind of odd to see Pro Gamer be able to do that. 3 is really optimal for gas mining here, and 1 drone is something like 7 or 8% of your economy. That is quite a bit. Spire going down here for Action. This Spire and surely Com's Spire is also morphing at pretty much the same time, I would imagine. Com massing up a few Zerglings here. Does not appear that he has speed, and it also does not appear that Action has speed, although I haven't seen his Zerglings in a bit here. So, in fact, that Spire might be blocking the gas mining drones just a little bit there for Action. On their return, they had to take a bit of detour there, just a slight detour, not quite completely straight. Not sure whether this is a good thing. It looks like it's not going to bother him, though. The drones are going to the gas at the appropriate rate, so I don't think that's going to bother Action too much. On occasion, pro gamers have been known to make those types of mistakes, and Action bringing out a scouting Zergling here just to see what is going on. Looks like both players does have speed up for their Zerglings. A lot of Zerglings out here for Action. Action, I believe, does have the Zergling advantage at the ground at the time. Action is moving out with his forces. He is going to find these two Zerglings here in the north, trying to spot his main army. Looks like, and Calm is just going to hide those two Zerglings in the north, it looks like, and perhaps mass up his Zerglings outside of his natural for defense. Both players now morphing Neoliths, playing pretty cautious games, I have to say, thus far. I think in these high-pressure situations, it might in fact be advisable to make bold moves, take big risks, because that's how you win. Massive attack here coming in by Action, but he is going to try to engage. I'm not sure he has enough Zerglings to get this done here, and I mean by Calm, and Calm looks like he is going to be forced back. Calm on the offensive there, and repulsed by the superior Zergling count of Action, and Action now has his Mulus out. He will be able to ward off these Zerglings and perhaps get a few free shots in before Calm can respond with his own Mulus there, just picking off one Zergling thus far. So Calm with his attack, not particularly successful there, and he may very well lose an Overlord here in the middle. Calm is going to lose an Overlord here, and now Calm does not seem to have very many Mulus, probably on account of how many Zerglings he morphed thus far. Action has quite possibly a few more Mulus, and also a pair of Scourge. He is going around the map hunting down Overlords here, and Calm does not seem to have a response to this. This is actually not looking too good here for Calm. He's lost 2 Overlords in short order. He may very well be supply blocked, which is also going to irritate him. He's not going to be able to morph additional air forces. So Calm really needs to be a bit more careful here, and perhaps he needs to buy himself a bit of time until he can morph his own Scourge or additional Mulus. He is now starting to reproduce his Air Force here, because I am nearly sure that Action has a very good advantage here in the air. Action is going to abuse this advantage here and maybe pick off more Overlords. Massive battle here. Overlord's trying to observe some of the Glaive Worm hits. Scourge trying to land here, but I think Calm just does not have enough units to get this down. Calm morphing a pair of Scourge, critically managing to kill one of Action's Mulus, and this is going to force Action back for now. That girl shaking her head, surely a KT fan. Victory was within Action's grasp there, but Calm is not out of the woods yet. He managing to fend this attack off, but surely Action has bring up reinforcements for a second round of attacks. Action also sneaking a drone there in his economy to boost his economy. Whereas Calm, I'm sure, just does not have the larva to spare to do that, and Action is going to back off, not confident that he can prevail just yet over Calm. Not sure whether this is the right decision here. Calm has managed to build up his Air Force in a fairly impressive manner, and I think as time goes on, Action's advantage may be more and more nullified here. It's hard to say. He did come out ahead on that battle, and thus far Calm has failed to do any sort of counter damage, so the lead is still in Action's hand. It's just that Calm has survived and has built up a fairly good Air Force now. He also has plenty of Zerglings on the ground, and if he micros well, he could turn the tide here and win the game. Those two Koreans seem happy to be on television. Good for them. Some people are very photogenic. Boxer, for instance, looks great on television. Part of the reason why he's such a star. Looks like these Mulus are moving out here for Action. He is just scouting around a little in the middle of the map here. Neither player really wishing to commit. I can understand why Calm doesn't want to commit. He has morphed a lot more Scourge, it appears, in Action. If he clones well, he could very well turn the tide here and win the battle outright, but a lot of Scourge for Action too. That is more Scourge than I thought. He's cleverly sent a pair of Scourge ahead of his main force just to see what might be going on. And Com has a secondary force in the back there. Both players maneuvering their forces, Action picking off some Scourge, one landing, but most of them getting killed off, I think. So I think that was pretty good micro by Action. Massive battle here, hard to tell what happened. I think some of the Scourge killed the Overlords. Action needs to be careful here. A lot of Mulists out for Com. Big battle, I can't even see anything. Such are the Glaive Worms here, and I think Com is going to take this battle here. Com with just those 5 Mulists in reserve, and Action in desperate trouble here. He's going to lose all his units, it looks like. Action was not prepared for the secondary force. Com morphing in the back, and Com is going to take this game comfortably here. Action completely surprised, it appears, and not microing his Scourge very well. I'm pretty sure a lot of them went and hit Overlords. That was not what he wanted. He needed to clone those Scourge and hit the Mulists. Action not quite giving up yet, but the game is over. There is no way he's going to be able to deal with these perhaps almost 7 or 8 Mulists, possibly more, for Com, and Com has built plenty of Scourge to take out any potential counterattacking Air Force. Action has managed to build him up a small army, and he has just completely lost it now. Scourge destroying the vast majority of his Mulists. But interestingly enough, Com has retreated. Action with his counterattack with the Zerglings has bought himself a bit of time here. It appears Com has been forced to retreat his Mulists back to his base. He's lost his Spire, so he can't reinforce his Air Force. On the other hand, both players' economies devastated by the Zergling counterattack. Com sending all sorts of Zerglings to attack the main here. Com still has a good 7 or 8 drones, it looks like, at his natural mining. Cleverly, Action has hidden 2 Zerglings there in the north. I think Com should finish the game now. Evolution Chamber going down. He has to attack within the next 30 seconds or so and close out this game immediately. He cannot afford to wait. Com is going for the attack. He's got plenty more forces in the back, keeping them as a reserve force. And Action, I think that was Scourge hitting a Mulist there. Action is going to send his Mulist to counterattack. He's also going to bring all his Zerglings out to attack. Com is going to wipe out this creep colony and almost certainly kill off the remaining drones, but GG coming here from Action, seeing the reserve Mulist that Com kept in his base, realizing that he lost. Action really taking the early advantage, but failing in his Scourge micro at the critical moment. So Com gets first.